Good Monday morning, everybody. I am Angie Callen, and this is No More Mondays, and I am already having fun to start the week. This is the podcast where we believe you can have a thriving career or business and an amazing life on your terms. And every week, I get to bring you guests who are doing just that. And they're also here to share their real stories, honest insights, and practical mindset shifts that have helped them live and work more authentically. And today's guest is the perfect example, even more than I thought. Wait till we get into this, y'all. Perfect example of everything No More Mondays about. Navid Moosa is a real estate investor, entrepreneur, and someone who lives the freedom life on his own terms. After more than 20 years in real estate investment, he's closed over $1 billion in deals, built a portfolio of 300 doors, and even trademarked his own investment method. And that's not even it. He's got taco truck, a car dealership, a consulting firm. The list goes on. But here's the kicker. This guy is not a trust funder. That portfolio of success wasn't handed to him. He didn't have big resources. He built his empire from the ground up. How's that for grit? And by figuring out how to use what he had to just get started. So if you've ever felt like you're behind, suffering from the comparison syndrome we all get from social media because you don't have enough time or money to go do the thing, this is going to challenge everything that you have ever thought. And this episode is for you. So without further ado, Navid Moosa, welcome to No More Mondays.
Thank you, Angie. That was a great opening. I appreciate that. That was awesome.
Yeah, we're already having fun. So I want to rewind a minute and let's give everybody a little bit more context on everything from real estate to taco trucks. How did this multi-potentialite life of serial entrepreneurship start for you?
I wish I had like a date, but I can tell you this. I was in the W-2 world. I would pinpoint it to this one moment where there was a promotion that I felt I deserved at a job. But the person who got hired, I ended up training them. So think about that.
Somebody out there just went, oh, I'm not the only one who's been through that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I went for this job. You hired somebody else, but you want me to train them for the job that you didn't pick me for. Yeah, no, let's not do that. Peace out. I'm out.
Yeah.
That was my moment.
On my terms. That was your moment.
That was my moment. Yeah.
Do you think, okay, philosophical, we're going to just go philosophical 3 minutes in. Do you think that you were actually always wired this way and that was like a catalyst or a trigger to just stepping into it?
Absolutely. So my senior year of high school, I didn't graduate. I didn't graduate. I had to repeat it. And when I went to repeat it, I didn't want to be in school again. I just worked. And at the end of the school year, there was an award ceremony. And I was getting an award for the hardest worker or something like that. I missed the award ceremony because I wanted to work instead. And I did not know I was even getting the award. I had no clue. The very next after that, my counselor pulled me aside and he said, "What's wrong with you?" So what do you mean? He said, "We were giving you an award last night." I said, "Well, no one told me." He said, "It was a surprise. That's why we asked you to take off." I said, "I had to work. I got to get paid." And he was like, "You're 18 years old. You have plenty of life." I'm like, "No, I want to work now." I was like, I want us to work now. That was it. So for me, it was never that straight and narrow path. It was like, okay, it was this. The whole life was this, stuff like that. And so, yeah, I've never been wired. I've never been wired the same than my peers. Everyone always said, "You're different. You're different. What's wrong with you? You're not normal." All those things, I'm like, okay.
And now you look back at that and go, thank you.
Yeah, I'm just like, no, you're not normal. I was like, you're not normal.
Also, like, what is normal? And this is a really great, I think this is a really great little piece of this conversation that's really relevant, is that there's so many things that we from a society say are normal. And we keep ourselves small and in a box because we think that's what we have to live by. And you're living proof of what happens if you challenge that norm.
Oh, absolutely. So when in my senior year in high school, I got offered a job to work at a bank. And I'm like, no, I'm going to do the regular thing, graduate, go to college, get a degree, all that stuff. So I bounced around. Like I said, I failed my senior year in high school, had to repeat it, and I worked here, worked there. Just for all that, 5 years later, to go work at the same job that was offered to me 5 years ago. So
Wow.
think about that. Yeah, and I'm just like, so I should have been here 5 years ago, but I was like, no, I've shied away from what was there for me because the normal was do this. And
Yeah.
yeah, right. So and I'm just like, you know what? No, I'm not making that same mistake twice. I'm not making the same mistake twice. And so I was just like, just go in. If this is what's presented, it's what God wants, rock out. Let's do it.
And so, okay, so where did and so that I like the early life picture, because the mindset was there. You had to, let's say, challenge norms, and challenge constraints.
Yeah.
How did you confidently take steps forward despite those constraints and despite the norms and despite the "what are you crazy" kind of feeling that you're getting or feedback you're getting from around you?
So it was a long path to fight that, right? So the question was, how did I fight it? I fought it a lot, and I consistently did it. So I'm first generation born in this country. My family came from Africa, and so my parents were used to raising, my siblings, their kids, in a particular way in Uganda.
Mhm.
So I was the first Westerner, if you will. They didn't really know how to deal with that, right? So I'm being raised in a household with, you know, African, Ugandan influences, but we're not
Traditional, I'm assuming.
traditional, old school,
Yeah.
traditional grind, work, and go, which is fine. But then it was like, hey, we're in America now. We have a lot of opportunity. You should take advantage of those opportunities, stuff like that. I'm like, you're telling me take advantage of opportunities, but you guys aren't showing me. Everybody here is working, 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 working. Right. So it was very hard to like, here's what you're telling me to do, but here's what you're showing me to do. And
Mhm.
then I go to school and my friends are like, what are you doing? And they're going to parties and barbecues and friends' houses. Well, we are, what are you doing this weekend? My cousin's house, my uncle's house, my cousin's house. We were just two houses back and forth every single weekend. We didn't like have an outside circle. So that's all I saw, is all I knew. And it was just, we were just a working class family. We didn't go to sleepovers in friends' house. So when I go to school and I hear people talk about, well, I did a sleepover, I went to a party, I went to this. I'm like, I didn't do that. I was in bed by 10 o'clock. I don't know what to tell you. So that was a battle, right? Like my friends are doing this, and here's what you're telling me to do, but here's what you're showing me to do. What's right? What's the right thing to do? And I didn't
Yeah.
know. I honestly legit didn't know what to do. So I was like, F it. I'm just gonna go do what I feel like I gotta go do.
I know.
Let the chips fall where they may.
I'm so curious. Okay, so there's a lot of parallels there, even though I did not grow up in Uganda. Because and my hi mom and dad, they listen to all my episodes and they're probably going, oh, this sounds a little bit familiar, because I also am like a little bit of an odd duck that grew up in an otherwise pretty traditional conservative
Yes.
home in Western Pennsylvania, where my dad was my high school math teacher. I was also not going to parties. We had a very small circle that was our family and not social. And because my dad was a teacher, single income family on a teacher's salary, we were kind of, working class, right? Maybe working class financially.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so this idea, entrepreneurship, was never a word that ever crossed my world until I was doing it, because they don't teach it in school in Podunkville, Pennsylvania, or kind of
Yeah.
anywhere. And so there's a level of friction that you experience when you're a little bit of that odd duck. Because
Yeah.
I sometimes don't know where the free spirit, like go be an entrepreneur person came from out of my upbringing. And that's where I'm like, you're saying things that sound very familiar. And how did you meet that friction is what I really want to know.
So back in Africa, my father was an entrepreneur. He was a businessman back then. Come to this country, that was all shut down. So everyone worked, and so that spirit was there. And your question to how did I meet that friction? Is that
Well,
correct?
well, I'm sure you met friction. How did
Yeah.
you work through it, or what did you do to just say, I just got to do it anyway?
That was it. I mean,
Yeah.
just I have to do it. There was no. I wish I had like a story or an epiphany or anything like that. It would just. I mean, I did get tired of just arguing. I got tired of just like, you know what? No matter what I do, it's just no matter what I do, an argument was going to get caused. We're going to get created. What I want to phrase it. So I'm like, well, if I'm going to get in trouble, if I'm going to create an argument, I might as well do an argument on something that I like to do anyways. Because think about it. If someone has told you you should do something their way and you don't align with it, it's not going to come out their way. So then you're going to argue about it.
You're damned if you do, damned
you
if you don't.
So I'm like, well, if I'm going to get targeted, I might as well have fun while I get there and see what it is and kind of go from that. Because, and it's kind of weird because like I said, well, traditional. So speaking back to your parents was like, not me speaking back like being rude or disrespectful, but even questioning them, like the simplest thing was considered talking back and whatever. And I remember it was a basketball game and my dad changed the channel. It's a little bit of a quirky story, just kind of bear with me here. So it was a basketball game, the Sixers, and it was like they were down by 9. I'll never forget it. They were down by 9, and it was like 10 seconds left. And my dad was like, yeah, they're going to lose, and changed. I got upset. And I was like, how do you change the channel? He was like, they're going to lose. I'm like, you don't know that. And then my brothers were like, oh, shit, he's going to die right about now. Right. Because my dad was 6'4", 265. Like, my dad was huge. Right. So he's like, he's going to die. We're going to be 6 brothers, not 7 no more. And so just so my dad he was trying to prove me wrong. He said, okay, fine, I'll go back. He goes back. Sixers came back and win that game. Coleman shot 3 3-pointers within 9 seconds and came back tied and won the game. So when he came back and he saw that he won, I was like, see, Dad told you.
I was just going to say, did you hold your tongue or did you say what I know you probably said?
I was like, see, Dad, I told you. And they looked at me and my dad got upset at me. And I was just like, I remember sitting there, I'm just like, that's messed up. All I said was, how do you know? Like, I wasn't at least I don't think I was a smart ass. But still, and then I was right. But I still got in trouble for it. Factually, it wasn't an opinion. It was a fact. The score was the score. And so I'm like, yo, no matter what I do, I'm going to get in trouble. I can't win. So for that, let's go.
And it's a funny, quirky little story, but it tells a lot, because to me, in this bigger picture or in the more substantial places where you push through friction, it feels like or sounds like to me that you gave yourself or you found permission in this idea of like, you're damned either way. So you might as well do the thing that feels right to you and that doesn't let you down.
Correct. There you go. That's the best way to put it. Because I said, no matter what's going to happen, what is going to happen is going to happen. And I could never be right. I'm the youngest of 7. I was always being compared to the older siblings who were much more book smarter than I was. You know, the whole putting the report card on the refrigerator, all that kind of stuff and everything like that. I'm like, all right, well, congrats to you. I don't want to do that. I want to go this path over here. So that's it.
Do you ever think that being the youngest of 7 is maybe why you're the little bit of the rogue?
I don't know. Only because, like I said, being youngest of 7, obviously we do have a, middle child syndrome also exists with the other sibling. And so I think the whole cultural thing is probably more involved in the road than anything else, because again, being first generation here, did not know what to do. And then my oldest brother kind of stepped in as my father figure, if you will. Like had to help me, the responsibility was put on him. I think that was just that. And then I was just kind of saw everything and I was like, you guys are telling me there's opportunity here, but you want me to find the opportunity. You want me to find the opportunity in this country that you said is now afforded to us, but you've never been exposed to it. So how do you know what the opportunity really looks like?
Yeah.
So your opportunity vision is just speculation, with all due respect. I'm living it.
I'm going to go prove it.
Yeah. Let me go show it and prove it. You may not like the path, but it's a path at least.
There was such a strong instinct there. And I'm curious how, because this is all formative years, younger year stuff. Fast forward, you've got this whole portfolio of businesses. And, we know a whole lot of stuff happened in between there. But I'm curious on how did you practically start when it came time to following your instincts and leaning into that opportunity to start building without all of the resources that a lot of people have?
So when that bank job, the one that I said I got passed over right when I first started. So during that, I was a manager as well, and I had my staff would say, "What are you doing here? What are you doing here? Like, you're a great salesman." I'm like, "I'm not a salesman. I don't like to sell." And they're like, "That's why you're so good, Navid." They're like,
Mhm.
"You don't sell, you tell. You tell a story about whatever it is you're passionate about, and that
Yep.
makes me want to buy it or learn more about it." And so, um, I again that when I was passed over that promotion, that was a really big thing. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I can't keep doing this. Let me just go dig into something. And then real estate was something that I just kept talking about over and over again. It was brought to my attention and when I was 17, 18, kept bringing my attention. I kept running away from it. So when I was 30 years old, that's when I decided. I was 30 years old. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get into this. And actually, semi funny story. A really good friend of mine was tired, so tired of me talking about real estate that for my 30th birthday, he bought me the real estate class.
That's a good friend right there. That's
He
either a
said,
good friend or a bad friend. I'm shutting you up. Who knows?
"Yeah, yeah, who knows, right?" So, and he goes like, it was like the best $600 he ever spent, right? So he was like, "Hey, listen," he was like, "Shut up, bro. I'm tired of you talking about this thing. Just go get your damn class, go get your licenses, and get done." And that was it. And I have always been someone who just goes burn the boats.
Yep.
Burn the boats and just go into it. And so I just I started in real estate. So I got into that and then ran into a guy looking at a property. He said he needed some help. I needed some money. So I said, I'll be your assistant. I became his assistant. And then he screwed me over. You know, it was time for payday. Our verbal agreement was I would get paid on a monthly basis. The whole first month went by and it was time to get paid. And he legit for 4 or 5 days disappeared, went on vacation. I didn't get paid. And so I kept going, showing off. He never told me he went away. I kept going into the office looking for like, hey, where's the check? Where's the check? Where's the check? And I'm like, go to the front desk. I'm like, hey, where's he at? And they're like, oh, he's gone. He's on vacation. It's like, okay.
With my money.
With my money. And I'm married. I just got married at the time. So my wife and I, like, I have no income, single income from her. And we're trying to start a family and all this stuff. I'm just like, okay, I'm embarrassed. I don't know what to tell her because we're holding down 2 jobs while I was living this dream of being an entrepreneur. And then the guy comes back from vacation and he goes, and I confront him like, hey man, where's my check? And he was like, what check? I'm like, well, we agreed upon this. And he was like, oh, you think you deserve it? I'm like, well, yeah, here's what I did. He's like, well, what you don't know is I had to stay up and make all these corrections to your reports every single night. Why didn't you tell me? If I was screwing up, why didn't you tell me? And he was like, yeah, no, I left. So now I have no job. And by the way, I was living an hour and 15 minutes away. So I was commuting every single day, an hour and 15 one way.
Oh,
And
jeez.
I was using credit card to credit card to credit card for gas and tolls,
Yes.
stuff
Yep.
like that. Yep. And that first payday never happened. Never happened. And it's just one of those things where I was like, never going to let this happen to anybody else. So I worked harder and smarter. And I just started talking to everybody about real estate that I could talk to. That was it.
There you go. There's a few things I want to point out here for those of you who are listening. Whether it's entrepreneur, whether it's finding the right W-2, by the way, I love that. I'm going to start calling it that. Whether it's finding the right W-2 fit for your values, whatever it is, this is not a linear type of thing to get to this like life of freedom because you get to define it. But sometimes you got to go through the positives, the negatives, and take some hits to figure out what you want that freedom to look like. There is a certain level of risk you have to be able to entertain because especially in this you building the freedom for yourself, it's uncharted territory, right? There
Yeah.
is no ladder, there are no clear steps. It's a little bit of trial and error, which comes with, some failures that become learning experiences.
Oh, absolutely. Like I can't if I had given up when he didn't pay me, if I said this is BS, I'm gonna go back to my job.
Yep.
Right. Had I stopped the first time when I lost, 10 grand on a deal, when I had lost whatever, if I stopped every single time I got kicked, I I would have never nowhere. You and I would not be talking.
And you would be working of all things in a bank, which is like, feels like it's just like the nail in the coffin of the death, right? Bad enough to have a W-2, let alone be in a bank.
No,
Sorry, all you
that's
bankers out there.
no. Listen. And it's the funny. So when I left the bank, I did this, and I had to go back for a funeral. A buddy of mine had passed away, and I walked into the branch, and I was like, and one gentleman there, his name was Brian. I was like, Brian, did you guys change the lights in here? He was like, no. I was like, did you guys paint the walls? He was like, no. He said, why are you asking these questions? I'm like, it looks so dark in here. I said, looks, he was like, it was like this when you were here. I was like, holy shoot, you guys are
I just know what the
depressing.
sun looks like now.
Yeah. And I was like, this is depressing. This is
So-
what we were subjected to for the 5, 6, whatever years I was here. I'm like, and and I wanted, it was a tough spot still, financial, I was still struggling. I struggled. Listen, I talked to two bankruptcy attorneys in my first 10 years of being self-employed, because I was like, I didn't know what to do. I was like, and anyway, so I'm like, what's my struggle? Is my struggle going to be how to pay these bills? Or is my struggle going to be, I'm coming into these 4 walls in this dark environment? Pick your struggle, Navid. Pick your struggle. Which struggle do you want?
I love that. I love that idea. Pick your hard. Pick your heart.
Yeah.
I'm a CrossFitter, and they had a marketing campaign for a while that was hard choices, easy life, easy choices, hard life. Pick your struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you going to regret 30 years from now? You're going to regret the 4 walls that gave you stability and safety, or are you going to regret having life and seeing how far you can push yourself, which is what I think is so amazing about the struggles that came in the not easy road. It ended up being worth it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I could go on and on about that, but it's just, no matter what you are, whether you're, W-2, self-employed, whatever case may be, there's always going to be a struggle. You just got to pick which one at the end of the day is going to align with you.
Yeah. Yeah. There was something in here that there was something in just all of your I love this. I love storytelling. I love it. Because it's so easy to learn and pick up little nuggets. But something that came to mind as you were talking is that there's a bias for action in kind of how you approach and how you've always approached this idea of like, I'm going to get out there. I'm going to find out. I'm going to do what I can do with the resources that I have.